let's talk about the first component of the marketing equation, interrupt. This is probably the most obvious component in the equation, yet it's almost always done wrong. I've told you multiple times on this program that everything you've ever learned about marketing and advertising is wrong. And this is one of the major areas of false doctrine that you're going to have to unlearn if you want to start maximizing your return on marketing investment. Big companies and their Madison Avenue ad agencies like to fancy themselves as the master of the interruption. We've all seen the Budweiser frogs and the lizards and the what's up guys, right? Pepsi does a good job of getting us interrupted by showing us Britney Spears practically naked. Before that, it was Michael Jackson with his hair on fire. Mr. Whipple used to tell us not to squeeze the Charmin, and an old lady used to ask us, where's the beef? They even call this interruption advertising, which is explicitly designed to interrupt us while we're doing something else and get us to take a look at what they have to say. I'm not saying those techniques flat out don't work and that there's no value in using them. I will step out on a big limb here, though, and say good luck if you don't have at least a $100 million advertising budget to roll it out with. But trust me, there's a big difference between interrupting somebody and selling something. The big ad agency formula, as we mentioned earlier, is CNR, which stands for creativity and repetition. The formula is not designed to sell anything. It's designed to interrupt and then engrave the image into your brain, into your mind. So I've told you that the true formula is interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. The big agencies would tell you that the formula is interrupt and engrave, interrupt and engrave. Problem is that in today's confidence gap cluttered environment, engrave isn't good enough. Engraving a message on people's brains increases the ad agency's holy grail, which is what they call awareness, meaning what percentage of people are aware that the product exists or aware of the company. Awareness is fine, but our holy grail is sales and profits. See, that's a big difference. Now, we're not the first people to ever realize that there's a problem with traditional interrupt advertising and marketing. In fact, quite the contrary. There are so many stupid, non-effective advertisements out there lately that the creatives have been taking a beating on several fronts. There are several creative haters out there, some of them big-time industry gurus. Donald Deutsch, a former big agency big shot who sold out his agency for hundreds of millions of dollars, smart-bombed the industry in a speech in front of advertising agency heads and corporate marketing executives saying that creative mediocrity is the problem and that companies shouldn't tolerate the garbage that's being churned out by what he termed creative retards. Donald's solution is to have better creative people with more business sense. Al Ries, who's the author of some of the most popular big company style marketing books such as 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing and Marketing Warfare, has a relatively new book called The Fall of Advertising and the Rise of PR. In that book, he talks about many of the same marketing problems that we've already discussed on this program today. His solution is to use public relations to promote products and services. Seth Godin has made a name for himself with books like Permission Marketing and Unleashing the Idea Virus that proclaim that mass media advertising is dead, and now companies have got to find a way to get the customers to willingly accept advertisements via email to make an impact. Sergio Zyman, the former chief marketing officer for Coca-Cola and the author of the book The End of Advertising as We Know It, he makes a very plain case for the fact that this crap just ain't working anymore. But like Donald Deutsch, Zyman only leaves a cryptic solution that roughly reads like this: make sure you do it better when you do it so that it makes you some money. Now let me be very direct with you here. The marketing equation goes like this: interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. I'm going to show you quantitatively how and why it works here today on this program. Ad agencies use the formula CNR, which translates into interrupt and engrave. That formula is outdated and wrong. Donald Deutsch and Sergio Zyman say use the CNR formula, just do it better. Well, that's a good start, and I certainly like their passion, but how do you actually do it, Don and Serge? They might very well know, but they certainly don't know how to teach you. Al Ries says, no. The formula is not CNR. It's public relations, or PR for short. But that's not accurate either. PR is a valuable tool, certainly one to be studied and implemented and benefited from. But see, Al Ries is saying that since traditional interrupt advertising isn't working, that therefore it can't work and it won't work. Now that's a lie, and it's dangerous for you to believe it. The answer to these problems is not to conclude that because classic interrupt advertising is not working, that therefore it can't work. I am giving you the formula here that has always worked, that still works now, and that will continue to work for the next 5,000 years. It's interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. We didn't invent this formula. It's been around forever. Some of the early pioneers in advertising understood it and used it very profitably. But it's been gone from the face of the planet Earth now for over 50 years, and we're finally the ones who have come along to restore it. Seth Godin says that since traditional interrupt advertising doesn't work, that advertising should be totally abandoned in favor of email marketing. That's like concluding that because the airlines are frequently delayed and flights run late, we should seek out alternate forms of transportation to get from Los Angeles to New York, like taking a train, driving, or riding a bike. I agree that email marketing can play an important role in a marketing program, but this is not an either-or game we're playing here. All of these other jackals are throwing up the white flag and saying because it doesn't work like it used to, that it can't work and it won't work. But again, realize that's a lie. Don't believe it. Don't believe it for 1 second. Believing those philosophies will have a devastating impact on your business. PR and email and other marketing strategies have and will continue to have their place. But get this straight right now. None of those things will ever replace traditional interrupt marketing and advertising. Advertising will always be a part of the equation during your lifetime. TV isn't going away. Magazines aren't going away. Radio isn't going away. Newspapers aren't going away. And if they do, they will likely be replaced by different media, not by a different incarnation of communication altogether. Look at the internet. The greatest marketing revolutionizing tool ever that's going to sap everyone from their televisions and render the newspaper useless. Yeah, right. Now we get commercials, pop-ups, emails, banner ads, and the same old stupid crap. Now we just get it when we're online, in addition to when we're sitting in front of the tube. You see, the trick here isn't to find a different way to communicate like Al Ries and Seth Godin say, or to try harder with the outmoded formula, the CNR formula like Sergio Zyman and Donald Deutsch say. The trick is to learn the true principles of marketing that have always worked and will always continue to work and use them within the existing marketing and advertising infrastructure. You have to understand the principles. By the way, for a detailed analysis of the books I just mentioned and others, check out our affiliate website, adrebel.com. I think you'll be interested in what you find there.